Hello there, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Total Ramblings. At the time of recording, it is Saturday, 1700 hours, Saturday the 8th of November 2025. So I have quite an extended weekend. I've got a few days off after the weekend, which is nice. So Monday, I am visiting Liz at Holy Cross Hospital because we have a family meeting to talk about me potentially being allowed to take her home for the day on my own without needing a minibus, without needing a nurse, without needing a driver, which would make things easier for us and it would make things easier for the hospital, in my opinion. Obviously, I've been pushing, well, not obviously, because you may not have seen another episode of this before, but if you've seen prior episodes of Total Ramblings, particularly the life episodes that I do, I have been pushing for monthly home visits for Liz, along the lines that I've just suggested, because she can't come home to live, and it would be nice to, be able to spend some time together as husband and wife at home, albeit in obviously restricted circumstances. I have proven that I have been able to keep her alive because I previously collected her from Southampton Hospital and drove her to Hazelmere. So I think, I'm hoping we will be okay. But obviously there's a massive risk there, right, for the hospital. And in fact, on Wednesday and Thursday this week, I was walked through the risk assessment, and a lot of those risks are highlighted as red. She could choke, she could get a plug, she could struggle to breathe. So Wednesday we went through the list and I explained what I was and was able to do. I don't pretend to be a doctor or a nurse or medically trained, but I am able to administer care to her tracheostomy tube and her rig tube. And then Thursday, for the umpteenth time, I've forgotten how many times now I've had to do this in front of someone, I had to demonstrate how I was able to handle a suction and the change of her inner tube, because Liz's trachea tube has one-use inner tubes. They're disposable and they're very easy. Anyway, the head of the ward said she was very impressed that I was very calm and collected during the whole thing. So anyway, yeah. So, and then Tuesday, Liz is going on a shopping trip to Festival Place, which is the shopping mall in Basingstoke, albeit, as with many shopping malls around the world, it's not what it was. Lots of stuff's closed down because, people do online shopping. We had COVID and all the rest of it. And then Wednesday, I've got the day off just because I need to try and catch up with some me time, basically. So today, I am driving to Horsham for one of my regularly scheduled pub nights with my boss and some other work colleagues, so that should be nice. So I'll be home quite late tonight. And then of course tomorrow, Sunday, I've got Sunday dinner with my mother-in-law and then visiting Liz again. So in other news, Alice I think came home Tuesday night, and so Alice stays at home 2 or 3 nights a week depending on the circumstances. Last week she wasn't home at all. And I got them a wedding magazine, I got them the congratulations card. There's been a thing in the paper this week. I'll put that up on screen so you can have a look at that if you're interested. My drone friend Barry, I don't mean he is a drone, I don't mean he drones on, but he flies drones. My drone friend Barry sent me a link to an image of the announcement asking if it was to do with me. So anyway, today, just been chilling out. I want to talk about Pluribus, which is the new series from Vince Gilligan, he of Breaking Bad fame. I believe also Vince Gilligan cut his teeth on the X-Files in his early career. he's got a new series out, which is an Apple original, I believe. 2 episodes so far. Pluribus. It's so as I've said, Vince Gilligan did Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, all of that associated universe stuff. This is a completely new venture. It's science fiction. So there'll be some spoilers for the first couple of episodes. So if you don't want to be spoilt, maybe go and watch them and then come back to me. Essentially, it's an interesting premise. It's kind of a very different sort of alien invasion kind of story. So it starts off with, I think it's Jodrell Bank, or, the massive satellite dishes pointing out into the sky. These guys kind of receive a signal that's in 4 kind of sequences. And this is like 439 days before the event, shall we say. Do not talk about the event. Anyway, you kind of skip through the first sort of 18 months, and it turns out that this sequence is essentially instructions on how to assemble some kind of virus. And as with all good virus storylines, the virus escapes into the human population, and one lady gets bitten by a seemingly dead rat, who I assume is in the first stages of this, virus, and she then subsequently passes it on to other people, and they pass it on, and they pass it on, and eventually, basically the whole world kind of gets affected. And the way this virus works is it connects all of humanity psychically, so they all become a hive mind, a bit like the Borg, but with no malicious or evil intent. It's just that if I was part of this hive mind, everybody would know my thoughts and my knowledge and how to do things, like how to drive this car, for example. And equally, I would know everything about those people, and we would all be as one. There are, however, 12 exceptions, as it turns out. Now, one of these exceptions is an author named Carol, and we kind of see the early stages of this viral breakout around the world through her eyes. Carol is an author. She writes kind of a series of fantasy novels, which she regards as mindless crap, but her fans absolutely love. And she is with her publicist / lover partner, I think, on a book tour. And her partner dies whilst this sort of global event is taking place. Most people are kind of stood or fallen, sort of paralyzed, and they're kind of shaking as this virus or whatever it is kind of taking over their body. But some people die. Turns out about 800 million people die around the world, which is not the intention, so the hive mind says, but a lot of people die because I guess they're not compatible with the virus or whatever. And as I said, there are 12 people, including Carol, who are totally immune to it. They're not consumed into the hive mind. And essentially so whenever you speak to anybody who's part of the hive mind, which is basically everybody, you are speaking with the entire population of the planet. It reminds me of a Rick and Morty episode, or a few Rick and Morty episodes where, is it Unity? They all speak as one kind of thing. But this hive mind, as I say, it has no malicious intent. They will not purposely kill anybody or endanger Carol in any way. They seemingly want the best for her. They want to help her out. They ultimately, of course, want to consume her into the hive mind, but they freely admit they don't know how to do that just yet. And they're quite upfront that they want to, in inverted commas, fix her and sort of, subsume her into the hive mind. But they won't kill animals. So if you want to eat meat, you have to rely on stocks of already killed animals. They've let all the animals out of the zoo. And also, whenever Carol has a negative, sometimes she has this, she's a very angry lady. She's very individualist. Obviously her partner has died, so she's very upset by this. And she quite often, well, a couple of times, she lets loose in anger at the individuals of the hive mind, which kind of paralyzes everybody. And it turns out like 11 million people die the first time she does it, presumably because they're doing something dangerous, like maybe flying a plane or something, and they just crash because they are sort of temporarily kind of paralyzed. They don't appear to be to object to this. It's just one of those things. And you know, they keep saying they want what's best for Carol and they kind of want to look after her. It's almost like they kind of regard her as a pet, someone to be looked after, because she's had the misfortune, in their opinion, of not becoming part of this hive mind. That's kind of the way I look at it. What they do is they get some random lady from, I think, the Middle East, and she's kind of on clean-up duty. So they're sort of cleaning up the dead bodies of people who didn't take to the virus or who died during the event. Don't talk about the event. Who died during the event because they were, you know, driving, for example. And suddenly she kind of, and without words, they don't need to speak, she ends up kind of getting on a motorcycle, riding to an airport. And without any instruction, you know, everyone's got everything ready for her. She boards a cargo plane and she flies it to the US, and she ends up going to see Carol. And it turns out that they've picked her as kind of their spokesman. It could have been anybody, literally anybody, but she has a passing resemblance to a picture on one of Carol's books of the hero. Raban, I think it's called, albeit a female version. A female version which actually Carol says she did consider for a while. And they know this because although Helen, her partner, is dead, her memories were kind of absorbed into the hive mind just before she died. So she wasn't physically compatible with the virus, but she was still able to transfer her consciousness and thoughts, or have it transferred into this hive mind. Anyway, so Carol asks, you know, are there any others like me? And there are 12, 5 of whom can speak English. And in episode 2, she wants to meet with those people. And she seems to be the only one who's bothered about what's happened. There's one guy who's taking advantage of everything by sampling all the finest things in life and, you know, having relations, shall we say, with ex-supermodels who are now part of the hive mind and all that kind of thing, which obviously Carol finds mildly disgusting. There's another lady who has all of her family members are infected, so to speak, and she doesn't see this as a problem. She says, I've still got a son. There's another lady who wants to be absorbed, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, right? It's kind of, you know, the hive mind kind of says this is the greatest day for humanity, and to be honest with you, I don't disagree with that to an extent. Obviously, we've only seen 2 episodes, and there's yet to be, no doubt, some more revelations will come, probably about the cause or the origin of this recipe for this virus. Maybe they're going to start turning into something else. At the moment, there's no conflict because they will not harm Carol. They just want to convert her, but she can't seem to get allies. So I don't quite know what she's supposed to do against the literal rest of humanity. So I've no doubt there'll be some developments there, right? But let's just take this at face value, right? The whole world at this time in this story, the whole world is at peace. There are no wars. There's no one being murdered or mugged. Everybody fully understands everybody else. Everybody is working to the same goal. You can see that the members of the hive mind, they are clearing up the mess that happened during the event. Don't talk about the event. They're clearing up, they're putting out fires, they're getting rid of the dead bodies. Presumably they're repairing buildings, they're making everything nice again. You know, now everybody in theory knows how to be an astronaut or can fly a shuttle, and everyone can do every task, right? So for once in the history of this world, we have a united humanity literally working towards whatever ultimate goal that might be. But, you know, there's literally nothing that humanity probably couldn't do if they were united in this way. And I can actually see, if you were, as I said, there's one of the people who's not infected who wants to join the hive mind, and I can see the attraction, right? Obviously, as I say, we don't know what's going to happen in the series, but I can see the attraction. I can see how appealing it would be if you were excluded from that hive mind to become a part of it, to become part of the whole, to live in a peaceful society where cooperation is the name of the game and everybody is working towards the same thing. It's fascinating. But also kind of, you know, I was talking about, if you're a regular viewer, you might recall some episodes ago, I can't remember when, I was talking about the novel that I was writing 25 years ago, Persecution Complex. And it kind of occurs to me that, you know, you have to, if I was to switch the paranoid part of my brain on, given the events that have happened to me over the course of my life, the unfortunate events, you know, you sometimes you wonder that maybe, you know, maybe that would be the ultimate premise for this kind of book, where, like, almost Truman Show-esque, where you are the experiment and everyone else is combined and has this hive mind and is able to coordinate their lives and run your life for you and introduce all those little minor inconveniences into your life quite sort of seamlessly, really, because they're able to work together, because they're able to think together at the same time. That just occurred to me in a very small way. I've got my front left tyre has a very slow puncture, and once a week I'll go and fill it up, and I'll usually overfill it slightly. And I just got to the pump, to the air station at my petrol station, and there was somebody there, and of course my mind immediately went, of course, right? And it suddenly occurred to me that if there was a hive mind operating to annoy the hell out of me, that would have been perfect for them to set up. They would, okay, get somebody there. Well, they don't even have to say get somebody there. Someone just would have been assigned to go there, like a cell in a body, like an antibody. Anyway, I can't complain too much, because actually I was able to fill my tyre up without having to pay 50p, because there was the remnants of the previous person's charge on the air pump, on the air, so that was quite good. So anyway, just an interesting thought, right? That, you know, why wouldn't you want to be part of this peaceful, all cooperative, all knowing, all capable hive mind? But I suspect, as I say, we've yet to see. Anyway, first 2 episodes, really cool. The main actress is Ray Seahorn, who played Kim in Better Call Saul. She's a very good actress. She's especially good in this. Sort of very angry about what's happened and frustrated and sarcastic and mouthy, and really good portrayal, I thought. And you can kind of really empathise with her position. So yeah, I can see that if you were on the outside of the hive mind, that, you know, that I guess there'd be no TV to watch. Nobody would need to make it. No news to watch. I mean, she can pick up the phone in the series and dial 0 and speak to anybody. And when she speaks to anybody who's on the end of the phone, she is speaking with the rest of humanity, right? And she can, in theory, ask for whatever she wants. I mean, she gets on a plane to go to Bilbao to meet all of the to meet the 5 other people who are free of the hive mind. She can literally have anything she wants, which is an interesting position, although it would be quite boring, I imagine. I don't know. It's an interesting one. There's a lot of food for thought there. but it's I've got high hopes for this. I don't know if it's got the legs of something like Breaking Bad. I think a couple of seasons are planned at least, but I don't know beyond that. But of course, the problem with American television, and I've said this before, is it can be risky to get into American TV because series can be cancelled without notice at any moment. Even a couple of episodes into a series or halfway through a season, or particularly at the mid-season or the renewals, right? I think this one's got a better chance of being kept on and renewed because it has an interesting premise and because it's Vince Gilligan, who's got a lot of kudos from what he's previously done. So, yeah, I'm going to be sticking with it, and we'll see where it takes us. In other news, I've also been watching The Boys. I have now started season 4 of The Boys. I've only watched one episode so far. I'm really liking it. There's a spin-off series and also a cartoon, I think. Might be 2 spin-off series. Anyway, that's a universe that I'm quite invested in at the moment as well. So yeah, that's been my televisual habits. Anyway, on we go to Horsham. Right, it's just gone 6:30 and here I am in Horsham, but none of my friends are here yet. And I've also just been told by Alice that there's an insanely clear full moon tonight, which is of course fucking typical, because I probably could have got a good comic picture tonight, but unfortunately I am out. I can't even see the moon from here. I don't even know which direction it's in. So freaking bright here. Anyway, something to moan about, isn't it? I'm now in my 4th pub, and I don't even know if you can hear me or not, but it's very, very loud in here, as I'm sure you can appreciate. Hi there, it's 3:25 and I'm just leaving my mother-in-law's. I'm extremely fucking pissed off, if I'm honest with you, because Anthony's done his usual thing of getting me to do his bloody tech maintenance. Just as we're finishing dinner, I've just wasted 25 minutes of my precious time, which I can't now spend with Liz, trying to reset his fucking account for his PlayStation. Can I just point out, if you're watching and you're an employee of Sony or a PlayStation network, you should hang your head in shame, because it is fucking ridiculous, the loops that you have just made me go through. First of all, I had to download a software update for his PS5 Portal thingamy-bob, right? That took 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, right? Then I log into his account on his phone as requested, and that's fine. It's let me log in. I log into the same account with the same password on his portal. No, password's wrong now. You've got to reset it. So to reset the password, I then have to go and fuck around with his Apple account. So now I'm messing around with his Apple account password, and I'm already drifting away from actually what I'm trying to do, which is get his portal to talk to his PlayStation, right? So I finally come back and I have to now reset the password. And to reset the password, I have to get a text. And then I get a text and I enter the thing from the text. And now it wants me to verify the mobile number. So I have to get another text. So I enter the text, except this time the text isn't coming through, is it? No, because I reset it only a minute ago, or rather I requested a text message only a minute ago, and it can only send me a message every so often. And eventually, for 20 minutes or so, I have found myself in a password loop, being completely unable to do anything, going back and forth. You need a new password, you need a text. No, to verify this text, you need a password. To verify this password, you need a text. To verify this text, you need a password. To verify this password, you need a text. Around and around and around and around and around and around and around. And I'm supposedly getting emails and text messages, which are time sensitive, by the way, and they're not arriving. They're taking minutes to arrive. So of course, by then, the portal has gone, well, if you're not fucking interested in logging in, I'm just going to time out. So it times out. So you never actually get an opportunity to actually fucking do what you want to do. And I've just wasted 25 minutes trying to fucking sort that out. And I've got literally nowhere. And now I'm running late to meet Liz at the hospital. So I'm extremely agitated. Then I get into the car and I turn this thing on. This is a DJI Action 5 Pro, and it seems to vary on how long it wants you to press the button to turn it on. It's turned on with a 1 second press before. Today, I had to hold the button down for 25 years before it would actually recognise that I wanted to activate it. I'm telling you, technology these days is fucking ridiculous. The number of passwords and codes and all this shit that you're supposed to have to remember is ridiculous. I've had Anthony's PS5 password now for years, but apparently today it's wrong, even though his phone said it wasn't wrong. I'm sorry, if you're going to get us to remember fucking passwords, then fucking keep up to date, and fucking keep up to date with whether they work or not. Don't tell us they work on one device, and then on the next device tell us they don't. And don't tell us that the password works for years and years and years, and then suddenly decide that it's not going to work with no apparent reason. And then for fucking Christ's sake, if I want to reset a password, let me get the fuck in so that I can do it. Anyway. Rant over. I'd like to revise my red hatchback theory from a couple of years ago. The red hatchback theory is if you're going somewhere and let's say the next town hasn't loaded, because of course we know we live in a simulation, what the world does is it puts a red hatchback in front of you, and that's kind of like a loading screen. This fucker is going 40 miles an hour in a 60 mile an hour zone and basically is slowing me the fuck down for something that I'm already late for. And I can only assume that he's actually on the way to be executed, and he doesn't want to be executed. I'm going to take my time getting there because I don't want to be executed. Never mind that there's me and now an entire queue of at least 8 cars behind me who actually do want to get somewhere on a fucking Sunday. I apologise for all the ranting and the swearing, but I'm in a particularly bad mood. I didn't get home till about 1:30 in the morning. So I find myself between something of a rock and a hard place, right? So don't get me wrong, I had a very nice evening with my work colleagues, but I had to drive 65 miles to get there and 65 miles to get home, which when you're only drinking lemonade, which is all I drink because I do not drink, that is a long way to go for a lemonade when I have lemonade in the fridge, literally 6 feet away from where I sit. And to be honest, this is why I don't go to pubs and haven't gone to pubs for a very long time. because all I do is just watch other people drink and get pissed and then talk incoherently at me. Not to mention, I'm also 6'7", and if we're in a pub and we're stood up, all the conversation is happening roughly around my nipple height, and I can't actually hear what's being said, partly because everyone is at nipple height and I'm above everybody else in terms of height, but also because of the fucking loud music that's being played that is also simultaneously destroying my hearing. I'm going to invest in some earbuds for such circumstances in the future, but you know, it's kind of like, so if I don't go, then I'll get grief from my boss for not going. But if I do go, I do feel obliged to buy a round, and I also bought the burgers last night, and now I'm getting grief from my wife for spending £50 last night. So I literally can't win whatever I do. And this is the whole status of my life, is I find myself in a no-win situation. Is whatever I do, I'm going to piss off somebody. And I try not to piss people off, generally. I try to live a life where people are not pissed off by me, because I think that's a nice way to live. So what do I do? I can't win. I can't win no matter what I do, because someone is going to get pissed off. So anyway, I'm obviously tired. And then Anthony springs the last minute technical query on me, which he always does at this, you know, and it delays me, and I don't actually get anywhere. I haven't actually managed to fix his problem, which is very frustrating when you're on a timetable, as I am. So I don't know what to do. I tell you what, we're not having another month like Black October. I will destroy the planet. I will destroy the planet before we have another month like Black October, because I am not living my whole life like that. It is insane. I would like there to be a way where I can live my life and every fucker leaves me alone and I don't manage to piss anybody off. And so maybe I should just disengage from everybody and go off and live as a hermit somewhere. That would be nice. Now I'm reminded of the hermit sketch from, is it Monty Python? I think it's Monty Python. Are you a hermit? Yeah, I'm a hermit. And they all live in a hermit community. You know? Anyway, this, by the way, is it's Farnham. It's quite nice here. And one day I would like to come here and not just drive through. I'd like to get out and walk around and look at the shops. But I've never got any time to do things like this for myself. And I also never have any money, which is a me problem. I know it's a me problem. But it looks like a jolly nice place. There's some old buildings here. There's lots of nice shops. Very few empty shops, which is unusual these days for a high street. But, you know, the people here all look very nice. Yeah. Doobie doobie doo. Christmas light switch on Saturday, 15th of November. It is next week. Can I just talk about this? This is the DJI Mic Mini. Now, the DJI Mic Mini is an absolute marvel, a masterpiece of miniaturization and design. However, it's also a pain in the arse. Let me tell you why. I'm going to show you something now. That clip at the back there, it's literally impossible to manipulate it with one hand. I tend to clip this. So I use the mini mic, DJI mini mic, with my DJI Action 5 Pro, which I have in the car, and it comes in a box with another one. And oh, look at that, a leaf blower. Never understood the point of a leaf blower. What's the fucking point? They rot down. That's the whole point of leaves. Anyway, right, the mini mic. What was I saying? Yeah, I use it with my Action 5 Pro. The problem is the clip. It's literally I slide the clip onto my seatbelt. And a seatbelt, right? It's got a very crisp edge. It doesn't fold. It's very easy to find the edge of a seatbelt. It's very solid. It's reliable. It doesn't fray. It's not like any other material. It doesn't stretch. And yet, even with material as reliable and as straight as that, it is literally impossible to clip the mini mic onto a seatbelt with one hand. You have to use two hands because the clip itself is so small and the microphone itself is so small. It is so light that it is a miracle and also a pain in the arse, because it will slip out of your fingers and you can't then find it. If it's got the magnet attached to it, and if it falls down inside your car, inside the cockpit of the car, it will attach itself to your seat rails and you'll never be able to get it off because the magnet's just too strong. This has happened to me before. It's so small that adult fingers, and I have large hands, can barely manipulate the thing. Also, I don't like the fact that when you turn it on, unlike the DJI Mic 2, it doesn't vibrate to tell you that it's on. The DJI Mic 2 is much, much larger, but it's also more substantial, it's heavier, and actually that's a good thing, because, and I've been saying this for some time now, there's going to get a point where the technology is literally too small for us to use. It'll all have to be voice controlled, but it'll be so tiny you'll lose it before you even know you've had it. I'm currently holding this mic in my hands because it's literally impossible for me to clip it back onto the seatbelt whilst I'm driving the car, because I need two hands, and that is not practical, right? You should be able to use this with one hand. And also the length of the clip is far too short because of the size of the microphone, and the slightest bit of jostling, it'll fall off and it'll be lost forever because it's so small. So I would say that you could apply the Jurassic Park argument to the mini mic. The fact that you could doesn't mean that you should. It's too small. It is too small. So, you know, that's just a little bit of another vent from me. I thought whilst I was in the habit of venting, I thought I would. These are minor inconveniences, I realise. I've just tried to clip this on with one hand and I can't. Because it's literally impossible. I have to use, there we go, it's on there now. I've had to use, I've just accidentally switched it off, by the way, that's another thing. I've had to use two hands to actually clip it on. Now the reason I wanted it clipped on is because I wanted to show you, this is the DJI Mic 2. Now I love this, I bloody love this. The length of the clip is so long that it takes a while for it to fall off. The length of the clip is so long that it makes it much easier to actually open it wider and to find a seatbelt or whatever, or material to clip it onto. I like the weight of it. I like the fact that it's got extra buttons on it for pairing. It actually vibrates when you turn it on, so that you've got tactile feedback so that you know that it's on. It is, and also of course it's got a slot in there so that you can put a lav mic on. And you can have the microphone on your belt, for example, or in a pocket, and you can have a lav mic instead. And I love that. And it is much, much, much my preferred microphone. So, you know, I was just saying, going off on one as usual, as I'm wont to do. Just thought I'd mention that. I probably am going to shut up now because I'm probably really annoying the hell out of everybody who's watching, if I'm honest with you. Excuse me, don't know what happened to my voice just then. God, I'm in a mood today. I am in such a mood. Right, just a final little thing to round off this video. I didn't actually have time in the end to get Liz onto camera today, so you'll just have to put up with those 2 photos that I just flashed up. I ordered some badges the other day, and in fact, oh, look at that. That's just come off of one of them. That's okay. I tend to use screw things to hold these on anyway, but that's just broken off there. That's annoying. Yeah, I fixed it, I think. Right, I've just got to. Sorry, bear with me, because the other one, I was actually wearing it last night, and you will have had a very sneak preview of it in the earlier part of this video, but I doubt very much you'll have been able to make it out what it actually said. So let's start with this one, shall we? This is my went outside trophy to prove that I went outside. Yeah, I wore that one last night. The first one that I caught my eye though on the advert was this. Daily Shitstorm Survivors Club. I can see me wearing this one quite a lot, if I'm honest. We have a very straightforward one here. Mental health matters, because it does, especially given Black October, which we will never talk of again. A badge that is literally true. I am older than the internet. And finally, the 5th one, and that back of that's fallen off again. See, look, it's okay. I've got plenty of these backs. I'm just going to put that in the bin probably. Overthinking and also hungry. Yeah, overthinking. That is something I do a heck of a lot. Like, I literally overthink conversations I had 35 years ago and worry about them. So, you know, that's just me, unfortunately. So yeah, there we go. Those are the badges that I bought, and that is going to be an end to this episode. Sorry about all the ranting and the swearing and all the rest of it, blah de blah de blah. But I would like to say thank you so much for watching this episode of Total Ramblings. I very much appreciate your custom's the wrong word. Patronage, is that the right word? I don't really know. I'm just having a quick look actually to see how many subscribers I've currently got. The last time I checked, and of course YouTube's not working at the moment.
Of course.
Just when you want it to, just when you want something to work, it doesn't. Have I lost the internet connection or something? What's happening here? Why aren't you working? Or are you working now? Right, okay. Shall we try again? Shall we try again? Shall we try again? Here we go. Right, your videos. What's my analytics at the moment? 397. I've gained 2 more subscribers since I last looked, and I am 3 away from 400. 3 more subscriptions and I'll be at 400. That's pretty good. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please do the old likey, subscribe, usual YouTube-y stuff. Hate me, do whatever you want. But anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.